I'm here again, and today I would like to share something from my life, what really changed my life and my thoughts, my mindset. And one day I decided to go to the mountains just by myself because I wanted to do something else. I wanted to just focus on myself. How can I improve myself, and how and what should I do to come out from this rut? Like I did every single day the same thing over and over again, and I didn't see any movement, or I didn't see any growth in my life. And it's really strange because before I came to the United States, I was absolutely like positive and well, do things and so energized, and when I came here everything just changed, and I didn't understand why I have to experience the similar things what I experienced long ago. But I lost my confidence and I lost myself. Yeah, it's hard to say myself because, as you know, we always change. We want to do different things than when we were a little kid. When I was 6, I had different ideas than when I was 16. Or 26 or 36 or now 44. So when we grow, some people are growing really continually and they improve themselves, but some people is stuck in one level. And what I experienced in my life, I always had different level in my life. When I went higher and then I stuck, and again I climbed higher and I stuck in a level. And oh yeah, in my hand, I will show you really soon who is this in my hand. So I realized that we can go higher and higher, and sometimes we just want to relax and it's so comfortable and we feel like we don't want to climb higher. It's quite okay there. And this happened to me too. Financially, emotionally, I felt just comfortable. And always something had to happen in case to decide to go ahead and go higher. And I was comfortable because I did a job I really loved to do. In 22 years ago, I became a dog groomer and I loved to work with dogs, and I never thought I will change. But I also climbed higher and higher. I had own business after I stuck there. And when I moved to other countries, I had to go from lower places. Like I went down to the valley again, because that time I didn't have my own business. I had to work in a chocolate factory, and I didn't speak the language, so I had to study it. So after I had to climb up again, and that wasn't a really easy climb because I needed to learn a new language, and I had to do something to go back to dog grooming. And because I couldn't open my own business, I didn't speak the language, I applied for a job. And I really soon I got the job because I had high experience and I groomed thousands and thousands of dogs that time. And really soon, in a 1 year period, they asked me to be a manager. So I climbed up higher, and that was great. And I was again in a certain level. And I was confident. People came to me for advice, not just for work, but because I'm a helper and I always help people. Even when I wasn't a life coach, I was helping people. I didn't know about life coaching at all. I was just helping people, and I learned Christian counseling, so I could help that way to people. And something happened in that area in my life, and I felt I was a failure. So I turned away from this. I still helped people, but I didn't do it in a professional way. I didn't do through the church. I just helped people. I was coaching people. And when I came to the United States, I learned about life coaching, and I became a transformational coach. And I didn't know I always did this all in my life. And there is a profession, and I can live and I can make a living from coaching. And it's amazing because I really love to help people and I want people to improve themselves. So I was talking about mindset change because that time before I had a mindset like I'm a dog groomer and I like to help people. So, but because I work with a company, I couldn't really talk that much to people. So that was in a level I had to talk about dog grooming all the time. And if I had friends and I met new people or even strangers on the street, I coached them. And subconsciously, because I didn't know that coaching existed. And when I came here to the United States and everything just went down in my life, not because I was happy and I started a new life, but something has changed in me. I didn't know what. I just realized that I lost my confidence. I cannot drive. I was a good driver when I lived in Hungary, and even I was a motorbike rider, like a big motorbike. I had a smaller bike, but I even rode a 1000cc motorbike. So, and from that woman, that really tough woman and brave, I came here and I lost myself and I didn't understand. And one day I decided to go to the mountains just to spend time with myself and learn how to be a better person, a better wife. And I'm a Christian, so I studied the Proverbs 31 woman, and it's almost everything. I felt like, yes, I'm doing this. And when I hit the verse about this woman is get up early in the morning, look after the household, I said, oh no, I'm not that person. I don't want to get up early in the morning. I hate mornings. In the mornings I was like a zombie. You cannot imagine. When I woke up, I pushed the snooze button like a lot of times, 5 to 10 times. So when I moved here, of course, my husband was next to me, so he didn't really like my habit to push the snooze button, so I did like maybe 5 times. And when I went to the mountains, I read a book, Miracle Morning, and I always came back to this book because this gave me the main idea about the daily routine and how the routine can change our lives. And this was a guy who had routines, like 6 different things he did in the morning, and he could work on himself and in his future too, and visualizing things and do some exercise and reading and just improving himself. And this gave me an idea, like, what if I could do that? I was the person who woke up the last minute when I really needed to get up, and I just ran to the kitchen. I tried to make some breakfast or lunch for me, and I ran out. So I didn't really have time for anything. I was like crazy, like a cat is running out and in all the time and following like a little red dots. I was like that. And my morning always was quite stressful because I didn't want to be late. I never was late, but I needed to rush. And I couldn't really think in the morning. If somebody interrupted me, I forgot everything. I didn't know where I was. And I was more like, oh no, I have to go, and now I don't know. That was also a morning routine, but wasn't a successful morning routine. So that day I decided to get up early in the morning, and this guy said 5 o'clock. I said, 5 o'clock? Wow, I would like to get up around 7, not 5 o'clock, but yeah, let's do it. And I made up my mind. I decided from next day I will get up 5 o'clock in the morning. And this absolutely has changed my life, because when I came home, when I was at the mountain, it didn't matter really because I had all day to work on myself. But when I came home after 3 or 4 days, when my alarm went off, immediately I jumped up and went out. And that was the first time in my life when I did this. And that was 5 o'clock. And I did this every single day. And after a while, I decided to get up 4:45 because I realized that when I try to get ready, that's take time, and I don't want to waste that much time. So I decided to go get up 4:45, and since that, I'm still doing this. This routine is amazing. So in the morning, I always start with praying and meditating on God's word and visualizing things what I want. Like a Bible said, if we pray for something, we have to think like it's already ours, and we will get it. So this will be ours. And I really love this Bible verse because this really showed me it's not just about a scientist, because a scientist working and talking about how the brain works, but the Bible also talking about, and I match these two things, like oh wow, let's see what God's talking about the brain and about our thoughts and about how we speak, and what the scientist says, how our life is changing or stay in the same level, is about because of our brain, how we think and how we speak. And that time when I was at the mountain, I bought this little guy, and I just bought it because I love llamas and alpacas. And this is a llama actually, but I love alpacas too. Oh, sorry. And I give a name to him. This is a boy, and his name is Focus. And I give this name because when I learned about the brain, I have to change my negative thoughts to positive, and I have to think about something what I want to be in my life, and don't think about things what I don't want in my life. And lots of people, we have 50 to 70,000 thoughts every single day, and most of them are negative. And for me too, I'm really a positive person now, but I had always negative thoughts too about the past, what happened with me or to me 10, 20, 30 years ago, or when I was a little child. And these thoughts, these memories came back time to time. And what I realized that they came back, and sometimes I felt a feeling, what happened, and I was sad, and sometimes I was crying. And I realized that that's just the brain playing with me, because the brain see everything in pictures. So if you imagine that now, have you ever ate a lemon, like a big juicy lemon? I like to talk about this. I like talk about my previous video too, like a big juicy lemon, and when you touch it, it's really firm, and what you want to drink a tea maybe, and you start to squish it because it's easier to come the liquid out when it's squished. And just imagine that. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, and imagine you holding this big lemon, and it's so juicy. You already feel like a little bit softer than was before you started to squish it. And now you picking up a knife and very slowly start to cut it, and you see the liquid, the yellow liquid just come out, and you feel that you smell the lemon smell is nothing the same as a lemon. And you cut it up little pieces, and you decide to put something on your lemon tea, but after you decide to bite in, just bite in a lemon, what do you feel? Can you taste it? And most of the people who do this exercise, they feel like, oh, lots of saliva, and it's almost like you can feel that soury taste. And if you are like we are, you experience the same thing if you really think about that. And this is how the brain works. The brain thinks in pictures. You didn't hold that lemon in your hands, but because you talked about that, your brain didn't know that's a true thing or just the imaginary. And this happened in your life too. In every situation, what happened in your childhood or in your life is somebody abused you sexually or physically or emotionally. This doesn't matter in a school, somebody bullied you, or your parents or a partner, or you bullied something, because sometimes we just blame other people like they did something to us. But sometimes we also made some bad things to other people when we yell at them, or we were maybe the aggressive person to them. But the brain is things in pictures, like a lemon. When you just talked about you biting, you already felt like, yeah, you already did it. So we can change our mind, we can change our thoughts, because when we change the thoughts, we change our emotions too. So when we have a really negative thoughts about our past, we can stop it. We can say, okay, that was my past, it's not here anymore. I don't want to think about this anymore. What else can I think about that lead me to a positive future or a positive result? Because some people, not just some people, most of the people had this self-talk, or sometimes the fighting, thinking about the fight, what they had previously, and what they should have said or what they shouldn't say, and it's just a fight, and this doesn't make any sense to think about what happened in the past. and thinking about that fight, we could change this mindset and these thoughts. We could change to, okay, if this happen again, how could I solve this problem? What can I do to solve this problem? So if we turn our mindset from the negative, what happened and what I should say to protect myself, to what is the solution? Asking the question, what is the solution? What can I do differently next time? Because sometimes we beat ourselves up really badly and we say that, no, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't say this, I hurt someone's feeling or somebody hurted my feelings. But you decide how long you want to stay in that level, on this emotional experience. You can change your emotions instantly. And this happened to me lots of times, and with clients too. I teach them and they experience the same things. When you change your physiology when you hold yourself in a certain way, when you are in depression, you are looking down, your shoulders are down and you don't want to look up, you just feel sad and you feel sorry for yourself. But when you are happy, you look up and you smile big and you just, wow, you can even walk above the ground when you are really happy. But we can really trick our mind too. Should we trick it? Why not? Better to be just sad and in depression and in stress, or you rather to change this mindset. Or sometimes we are in stress, we just feel this in our stomach, like, oh, I hate that and something bad happened, or I don't want to talk to this person. But what if you change your mindset and you say, yes, this is a good opportunity. I know you don't need to lie about your feelings, because the feelings are your feelings, but you can change it when you change your thoughts. You can say, okay, I feel depressed, what can I do to feel better? I know when I feel depressed, I look down, I just thinking about negative thoughts and I feel sorry for myself, but I can change it and tell to my brain, no, I don't want to be in depression. Lift up your head, smile big, or read something like funny stories, or look something up on videos, funny kitten videos, or whatever you like to do, and change your mind, change your focus. Because when you change your focus, your emotion will change. That's a rule. Is a brain, how the brain works. That's not accidentally. Also, the Bible talk about what we should talk about. Think about what is good, what is right, what is trustworthy. We have to think about something great. Because if we think sad thoughts, we had sad thoughts, or something that happened to us and that was bad or negative, then this make us sad. What's the point? And everything is just happened here. But if you change your thoughts, yes, the feeling sometimes, yeah, it just happened something to you. But as a scientist says, usually when we had a feeling that's caused some chemical I don't know the English way to say, chemicals in our brain, and that's why we feel this rush, like fear or aggression or anxiety or even happiness. So this can be something what is in you, but it's just 90 seconds. 90 seconds, these chemical things in our brain. So after 90 seconds, it's gone. And as scientist, the brain scientist says, if somebody is angry more than 90 seconds, they just fake it. Because when there is a fight, they feel this really big stress and they just give it out. But after 90 seconds, they don't feel the same thing. And lots of times I realized in myself in the past, I was just keep going because I felt stupid not to continue and I want to win. But that feeling is not there anymore. But we can change it. We can change our thoughts and we can create different emotions. So we can say to ourselves, yes, I feel this depression, I feel this anger, but I don't want to be there. I decide to not be there. I decide not to be angry. But this is a decision and you have to make if you want to. If you want to change your life, if you want to change your feelings, you can make it. And sometimes I do really silly things because sometimes we think like, I don't know why I'm down. You don't know because your subconscious mind working in you. And the subconscious mind doesn't tell you like, oh, I gave you these thoughts all the time, but you just feel you are down. But you are down because you have some thoughts. You are not aware about that. So when you feel down, you can say, yeah, I experience this feeling, but I don't like it. I want to change it. And then you can lift up your head and you can do something. So what I'm doing, and maybe sounds a little bit silly, but I learned this from Tony Robbins before, and it really, really works. Doesn't matter if you are a Christian or non-Christian, because Tony Robbins does not teach you about Christian things, really. And but it works really good, because when we change our mindset, everything is changed. And he said also about the physiology. When we change our physiology, we can change our feelings. And he started, okay, do a big smile. Smile, look up, and put your shoulders back and just jump up and down. And when you do it, you don't need to do it in front of other people. You can go to the bathroom or in a spare bedroom, and you can just jump up and down, or you just jogging, or in a room, whatever you want to. But you can change your state in a second. And I realized that when I did this, like a silly face, like a big smile, and look up, and maybe clapping and jumping up and thinking about good things, I couldn't be upset. I couldn't be depressed. You cannot jumping and be depressed. It's just impossible. And I use these little tricks, I don't know how many times. Sometimes not just because I was depressed or felt so low, but because I just didn't, I was just like a flat, like, it's okay feeling. And then I started to running outside in a yard, and it's just like jumping around and smiling. And in a couple of seconds, I changed my state and my feelings. And even if it's feel and sounds really stupid or silly for you, just try it out. My clients, all of them said the same things. Their emotions changed immediately. And I asked them, okay, now doing this, you are really, really happy, jumping up and down, and think about some really sad things, something what happened to you, really negative. And almost all said they immediately stopped jumping, and they just was done again. You see how the brain works? And one of them, a couple of months ago, she told me like she was in shock when she realized how her brain worked, because she was about jumping up and down, she was super happy, and I asked her to think about negative things, and she immediately stopped jumping. And then she realized she can control how she thinking and how about the feelings. So we don't control our feelings, but we control what we think about. Okay, I talked too much about that, but I still want to talk about focus, because I gave this guy a name, Focus, and he's with me in a car all the time. So what I decided to do, I gave the name Focus because I knew that the subconscious mind is, we have to be aware what we are thinking about, and most of the time we are not. We just feel sometimes we are low, we don't know why, but because we think about negative thoughts, but we are not aware. So when I named this little guy Focus, and I sat in a car, I always talk to him and I said, hey Focus, oh, I have to change my focus. And I started to say shift focus. Every single time when I sat in a car, I said shift focus. Actually, I have a manual car, so you have to actually shift all the time. And this is under a steering, actually on a shifter, on the shifter. So actually I can shift him where I want to. And it's super funny. And now I don't need to think about this anymore, because this guy is a couple of years old now, and it's absolutely changed my mindset. And I gained back my confidence and what I had before, and even more. I grew more since I went to the mountains, and I learned about to getting up early in the morning and do some different routines and change my mindset. And since that, I really love to teach my clients how to change their mindset, because they just think, I don't know, I had always these negative thoughts and they always come back. But you can change it. If you are aware about, you can change it. If you are not aware about, you cannot change anything. But first time, you have to really do it like every 25 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever you choose. The more often is better. Maybe you can set up your phone or reminder, or maybe a screen what is like background on your phone. So when you turn your phone on or you get a notification, you immediately will see that shift focus. You can call it whatever you want to, what is really suit to you, and you really get the message. Most important thing, this thing you say, for me is shift focus, should trigger you. You should know when you see this or you hear it, because you can set up like a voice record, and you can add like a alarm, and this came up like shift focus, or what you like, change your mind or mindset or whatever fits you. And at the beginning, if you do it often, your brain will remember, and this will be automatic also, because you will start to think about what you are thinking. This is a main point I wanted to share. When I said shift focus, I immediately think about what I was thinking about that second. And I think, oh no, I was thinking about this, I have to shift it. If it's a positive thing, you don't need to shift it, that's really great, but most of the time they are negative. And if you change it, you will change your whole life and whole mindset. And this is really amazing. But the most important thing, when a negative things come, you have to shift it. Yes, they will come back after 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Especially if you have some feelings attached to it, you will feel it like, oh no, I didn't want to think about, but it's again in my mind. Yes, because it's already wired in your brain, but you can change it. You decide and you said, okay, I don't want to think about that, because this is your decision. You can decide how long you will think about this. When a thought come into your mind, some negative thoughts, and you don't want to think about that, you have to stop it right away. If you don't stop it, it's same as a snowball on a mountain top, a little snowball, and a thought is like that. If you don't stop at the top, that will be bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes down. And if you don't stop it, that can destroy things. This can destroy your life. There are people who are suffering from the same trauma for 30, 50, 60 years. Some people are old, 80, 90 years old, and they're still suffering from childhood trauma. And this is really sad. I had lots of childhood trauma because I was molested by my father, and I was physically and emotionally abused by my parents, and I had a husband when I was 25 years old, and that he abused me physically and emotionally too. And I had to get over, and I felt sorry for myself what happened to me when I was a little kid. But if you remember for the lemon exercise we did, everything is on our head. If we think about the same situation over and over again, this will wire into our brain. It's like this really deeply went into our brain, and this is why we are thinking about that. This is in a deep level of memory. We can change it if we tell different stories. Some of my clients said, why should I change my story? This happened to me when somebody molested me. Would you like to live the same way? Would you like to live rest of your life sad and thinking about what happened to you 20, 30, 50 years ago? Really? You can decide. So if you want to, that's up to you. But if you want to change your life and you don't want to keep that bad past away from you, you can change your life. You can change your mindset, what you're thinking about. For me, I kept these abusive thoughts in my head all the time, like what my mother and father did with me and my ex. And poor me, they couldn't or shouldn't do this with me, but they did. I cannot change the past, but I can change the future. And the other thing is really important, even the video is a little bit too long, but I would like to share. When you think about the past, what happened to you, sometimes when you have new friends, you meet new friends, or you talk to the old friends, you always come up with the same past, what happened to you. Why? Most of the people don't keep it themselves. Some of them, yes, and just thinking about over and over again. It's the same thing. Then you share with someone. Because the brain is thinking about pictures, and the brain thinks this just happening to you. That's why you feel depressed. That's why you feel so low. So when you feel this way, you have to change your mindset if you want to. So if you sorry, just I had a phone, somebody called me, and that's why I stopped, because I don't want to pick up the phone, but I want to finish this video before I stop it. I don't want to pick up the phone right now. So if you want to change your future, you have to change the story, what you're talking about. It doesn't mean that didn't happen to you and you have to lie about, oh, it's nothing, never happened to me. But honestly, if you think about this lemon, is everything in your mind, because you think about the brain things is happening right now. Why don't you just change it? So what I mean about this change it, this is about, I always talk about how my mother treated me, or my father, or my ex. And when I met new people, I always told the same story, like, oh yes, I came from the dysfunctional family, blah, 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 this happened and that happened. Now I am a life coach, so I have to share these things again. But when I meet new people, now I don't tell the crappy story from my life. I started to think about actually what was good in my life. And at the beginning was super hard to think about one single thing that was good in my life. When I was a child, I couldn't find. I said, what? That was all bad. And then slow by slow, when I came up with one thing, okay, I like to run. I was a good runner. Or I was playing outside when my parents were working, so that was a peaceful time. Or I had dogs and they really loved me and the time with them. Or in a school, I helped my classmates all the time. I gave advice and I always was there for them, and that's made me happy. Even I had a really bad life, they didn't know. I didn't tell them. Maybe they knew that about my parents. They were alcoholic. But I never told anyone. I was a strong kid in a school. And I started to write down good things that happened to me. And even I started to think about good things what happened with my father before he started molesting me. And about my mother, when time to time, when she was sober and we had good time together, or we had a good laugh or a good talk. So I started to write down these stories. So it doesn't matter what negative things happened. I don't want this in my life. I'm not that little kid anymore. I want to think about the good things. So when you change your story, you can change your life. So now I practiced. When I went to work, I always started to tell the stories. And even I did like I faked a phone call and I told a story to someone in my head, because I wanted to wire in my brain the good things. So just think about what is better. You have a life. You had bad memories and good memories. Maybe you have to dig really, really deep down to find some good memories. But which is better? It's happened good and bad. Just telling the bad things all the time and feel sorry for yourself, or telling the good and feel better? Because you can go this way or you can go that way. And when I realized this, hey, I never talk about the good things in my life. Never ever. When somebody asked me, I never mentioned the good laugh with my mother. I didn't mention that my father was always joking about everything. I never mentioned that, like, oh, I was a good runner and I really enjoyed to compete in a school and I was a best runner in our school. Never. Why? Because we focus on one or the other. Really rarely happen when people are telling a little bit of bad, a little bit of good. No, most of the time we focus on one or the other. And you can decide which way to focus. So this is what I wanted to share today. And time is a little bit, now it's 35 minutes. I wanted to do a shorter video, but I couldn't stop, sorry. I'm not really sorry, because maybe you can learn something from it. And if you are learn something or you benefit from this message, just please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, push the notification button, and I will share this on YouTube and also on Facebook groups. So if you are happy or if you like something really, just share with me what you liked in this message. I'm really grateful I was here with you, and I was so excited to tell you this story. I didn't know I will talk about this today, but I'm really glad I did. Thank you for listening and watching, and see you in the next video. Bye everyone.